Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit vaccine facilities in Pune, Ahmedabad and Hyderabad today. Will personally review vaccine development and manufacturing process to get a first-hand perspective of the preparations, challenges and roadmaps in India's endeavour to vaccinate its citizens. Prime Minister Modi speaks on phone with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Both exchanged thoughts about challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, review cooperation between India and UK in the area of vaccine development and manufacturing. Also discuss India-UK collaboration in climate change. Prime Minister speaks to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E.K. Palaniswamy to discuss the situation in the wake of Cyclone Nivar. PM expresses condolences on the loss of lives, announces ex gratia of 2 lakh for kin of the deceased, rupees 50,000 for the injured. In Jammu and Kashmir, the first election after Article 370 reorganization underway. First of the 8 phases of the Maiden District Development Council polls for 43 seats with 260 candidates to be held today. Economy regains lost ground. GDP growth in second quarter improves to -7.5 as economic stimulus under Atmanirbhar Bharat package yields results. Chief Economic Advisor describes double-digit recovery in GST collection as very encouraging. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar visits Seychelles, conveys India's greetings to recently elected President Wavel Ramkalawan, also meets Foreign Minister Radegonde, discuss important issues on bilateral cooperation. Iran points finger at Israel after a top Iranian scientist is killed in an ambush near Tehran. Iran vows to strike at the killers of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, who was suspected by the West to be involved in a secret nuclear program. And in sports, England defeats South Africa by 5 wickets in the first T20 in Cape Town on the back of an unbeaten 86 by Johnny Bairstow and Sam Curran's bowling excellence. Visitors take the lead in the 3-match series. Good morning. Welcome to English News. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 3-city visit today to personally review the vaccine development and manufacturing process. He will visit the Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad, the Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad and the Serum Institute of India in Pune. As India enters a decisive phase in its fight against COVID-19, Prime Minister will get a first-hand perspective of the preparations, challenges and roadmap in India's endeavour to vaccinate its citizens. In another development, Russia announced that an Indian firm will produce 100 million doses a year of Sputnik V vaccine.
India is a forerunner in the hunt for the COVID-19 vaccine, with ICMR NIB and Bharat Biotech indigenously developing Covaxin and several other firms as well as institutes entering into tie-ups with global vaccine developers.
Like many foreign countries, India is also in the run to develop the vaccine against COVID here. There are some pharma companies, Indian pharma companies are developing their own vaccine to fight with the coronavirus here.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is personally overseeing the vaccine development process as well as distribution models. The Prime Minister's office has announced Prime Minister Modi will embark on a 3-city visit to personally visit the vaccine development and manufacturing process. He will visit the Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad, Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad and Serum Institute of India in Pune. As India enters a decisive phase of the fight against COVID-19, PM Narendra Modi's visit to these facilities and discussions with the scientists will help him get a first-hand perspective of the preparations, challenges and roadmap in India's endeavour to vaccinate its citizens.
कोरोना की वैक्सीन से जुड़े भारत का अभियान अपने हर नागरिक के लिए एक प्रकार से नेशनल कमिटमेंट की तरह है। भारत जो भी वैक्सीन अपने नागरिकों को देगा, वो हर वैज्ञानिक कसौटी पर खरी होगी। जहां तक वैक्सीन के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात है, तो उसकी तैयारी भी आप सभी राज्यों के साथ मिलकर के की जा सकेगी।
On the 24th of November, the PM chaired a high-level meeting with CMs to review the status and preparedness of COVID-19 response and management. Modalities of COVID-19 vaccine delivery, distribution and administration were also discussed.
हमें कितनी अतिरिक्त कोल्ड स्टोरेज की जरूरत रहेगी, मुझे लगता है कि राज्यों ने इस पर अभी बल दे करके व्यवस्थाएं खड़ी कर देना शुरू कर देना चाहिए। स्टेट लेवल पर एक स्टीयरिंग कमेटी एवं स्टेट और डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर टास्क फोर्स का, और मैं तो चाहूंगा कि ब्लॉक लेवल तक हम जितना जल्दी ये व्यवस्थाएं खड़ी करेंगे, हमें हमारा रोजमर्रा के काम के साथ कोरोना से लड़ते लड़ते भी इस एक व्यवस्था को भी विकसित तुरंत करना पड़ेगा, ये मेरा आग्रह रहेगा।
Preparations are underway for Prime Minister Modi's visit.
Prime Minister will be visiting in Gujarat's Ahmedabad's Zydus Cadila Biotech Park. Now the Zydus is also developing one of the indigenous vaccine here. The Zycov-D vaccine is what the Zydus Cadila is preparing right now, and what the company says that by next year they will introduce this vaccine in India.
Sola Civil Hospital in Ahmedabad has started phase 3 human clinical trials of the India-made coronavirus vaccine, Covaxin.
हमने यहाँ वैक्सीनेशन का काम कल से स्टार्ट कर दिया है। हमारे पास काफी वॉलंटियर्स इंक्वायरी के लिए आते हैं और इसमें से हमने कल 5 लोगों को ये वैक्सीनेट कर दिया है और अभी तक उनके यहाँ से कोई ऐसा कॉल नहीं आया है कि उनको कोई मुश्किल पड़ी हो, कोई तकलीफ हो, कोई हेल्थ इश्यू हो। और आज हमने दूसरे 10 लोगों आ रहे हैं, उनमें से 10 लोगों को सम्मति दे दिया है, तो दूसरे 10 लोगों को भी आज हम देने के प्लान किया हुआ है।
वैक्सीन का जो अभी निर्माण है वो अपने अंतिम चरण में है और वैक्सीन एक बार निर्मित होने के उपरांत सामान्य जनता तक उसको कैसे पहुंचाना है, हमारी जो वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशन है उस तक किस ढंग से पहुंचाना है, इसके लिए इसकी तैयारी के लिए राज्य सरकार के द्वारा और भारत सरकार के वरिष्ठ अधिकारियों के द्वारा 2-3 रिव्यू मीटिंग्स हो चुकी हैं और इसकी जो रणनीति रहने वाली है उस पर भी हम लोग समानांतर रूप से काम कर रहे हैं। इसमें वल्नरेबल जो पॉकेट्स है, वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशन है, उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना, कटिंग एज लेवल पे जो हेल्थ कर्मचारी अधिकारी काम करते हैं, चाहे वो शासकीय हेल्थ इंस्टीट्यूट्स के हों या प्राइवेट हेल्थ इंस्टीट्यूट्स के हों, उनका डेटा भी एकत्र किया जा चुका है।
AIIMS in New Delhi has also begun phase 3 human clinical trials with Dr. M.V. Padma Srivastav, the Chief of Neurosciences Center at the Premier Institute, and 3 other volunteers receiving the first dose. In another development, the Russian Direct Investment Fund and Hetero, one of India's leading generic pharmaceutical companies through its biologics arm, Hetero Biopharma, have agreed to produce in India over 100 million doses per year of the world's first registered vaccine against the novel coronavirus infection, Sputnik V. President Vladimir Putin had announced a tie-up with India for the production of Sputnik V at the Riyadh G20 summit. Besides Covaxin, 4 other vaccines are under different phases of clinical trial in India, with the Serum Institute of India conducting phase 3 trials of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. According to officials, Dr. Reddy's laboratories will also soon start combined phase 2 and 3 clinical trials of the Russian COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik V. Also, Biological E Limited has started early phase 1 and 2 human trials of its COVID-19 vaccine candidate. With Prime Minister Modi leading from the front India's head start in the race for a vaccine, the hope is that there will be good news soon. Till then, in Prime Minister Modi's words,
ये बात बार बार मैं कहता हूं, जरूर याद रखिए। मुझे विश्वास है आप याद रखेंगे, इतना ही नहीं मेरी बात मानेंगे भी। देखिए, जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक ढिलाई नहीं। याद रहेगा, जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक ढिलाई नहीं। 2 गज की दूरी, मास्क है जरूरी,
is the mantra to remember.
Serum Institute is also developing a vaccine in Pune. In Hyderabad also the biotech vaccine is also in its, we have seen here probably in the last stage that they're making vaccines here, and that's the reason now the Prime Minister will be visiting these pharma companies and try to understand that how this vaccine is being made and how we can distribute this vaccine in the entire country. With camera person Sanjay Jaina and my associate Amit Shahu, Shishila for DD News, Ahmedabad.
Well, for more on that story, we are joined by our correspondent Shishir Shelas joining us from Ahmedabad this morning. Good morning, Shishir. Shishir, take us through, there is a mad vaccine rush that is being seen across the world. And, India too entering a very decisive phase when it comes to vaccine development. What does the Prime Minister's visit to the 3 cities today indicate, and how are the preparations there on ground zero with regards to the Prime Minister's visit?
Well, absolutely, Anil, you rightly said here that we have seen a quite mad rush for the vaccine development here. Most of the foreign companies, most of the foreign pharma companies probably are claiming that probably their vaccine will come into the market in probably in the first or second quarter. Well, obviously now the Indian companies also not lagging behind in this, and the Indian companies who are developing this vaccine have also said, have also claimed it by next year that even their vaccine will also hit the market here, and few Indian companies are actually in the rush right now. The Prime Minister will be visiting 3 important destinations where the vaccines have been probably under clinical trials. The first he'll be visiting in Gujarat's Ahmedabad, Zydus Cadillac Biotech Park here. Now the Zydus is actually started the work on this their own vaccine, that is Cyclone, in the early of this year. That is probably in the February and March, and currently they are working on a DNA type vaccine. Now obviously the clinical trials of this vaccine is going on, and probably they have reached the second phase of clinical trial here. And what the Zydus have claimed that so far the clinical trials they have conducted have given good result here. Now obviously when we're talking about this, we also have to need to think about that these are the Indian companies who are developing these own vaccines, indigenous vaccine, and that's what the Prime Minister also looking for it, that when we're talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we should think from all the perspective here. Even while developing this vaccines, we have seen here that these Indian companies, be it Zydus Cadila, or you're talking about the Bharat Biotech, or you're talking about Serum Institute, they're all in this run here, and they've also partnered with some foreign companies also. For example, the Serum Institute has partnered with the AstraZeneca and the Oxford University to develop vaccine here. So obviously, when we see all this development here, we have reached to the crucial stage here. And now Prime Minister is leading from the front, visiting all these facilities here, these vaccine manufacturers here, and they will also talk to them that what other technicalities are involved in it while we are distributing it. That's also quite an important thing. Just making a vaccine or work doesn't stop here. The second important aspect in this is that how we can distribute successfully this vaccine to length and breadth of this country to the vulnerable section of our country, and that's the reason Prime Minister will be having a word with these vaccine manufacturers also and the scientists also. Prime Minister have categorically said that when the vaccine will open, the scientists will decide about it and scientists will take a call on it, but we have to get prepared so that once the vaccine comes in the market, we have to distribute it properly. And there are some norms also we have to follow while distributing this vaccines here, because in the media reports also and in many research papers so far that we have seen here, it says that while distributing the vaccine, we have to take extra care also, be it weather condition, be it temperature, all these factors need to be considered here. So it's not just like that we have to develop a vaccine, but at the same time we have to make a system so that we can easily distribute this vaccine here. And now, as I said, that Prime Minister is leading from the front and seeing all these activities here, probably we can see that he will also have a word with the state chief ministers also and the state departments also, that how whatever plan they are making ready. And with the coordination with them probably going ahead by next year, it seems that whenever the vaccine comes to the market, India will be ready to roll it out.
Okay, Shishir, also give us a sense that, 3 noted pharmaceutical facilities, India being visited by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister taking a first-hand stock of the situation there on ground zero. But when it comes to, especially when it comes to the plant in Ahmedabad, we heard about phase 1, phase 2 of trials. When you also heard a lady talking about, some vaccination being there given to few people. Give us a sense of, the trials there when it comes to especially the Ahmedabad plant and the pharmaceutical company.
Well, at this point in time, it's quite early to talk about it, but what we got to know from the companies also and what the companies has claimed so far, that the trials right now is going on, at various stage here. What the information from Zydus also we got is that nearly age between 18 to 55, people between age 18 to 55, they are conducting trial on the people also, those who try to, who come voluntarily for the testing of this clinical trials here. Those also been involved here. So obviously these kind of trials are going on across the country. We've heard that Serum Institute started the trial first in Mumbai, in Hyderabad also, in Nagpur, in Hyderabad also, in other parts of the country as well. We have seen here that the Zydus Cadila also have started the human trials also, the clinical trials also, that reached to the different stages now. Normally we see that the phase 1 trial, phase 2 and the last is a phase 3 trial. Now some of the Indian vaccines that we're talking about, like the one which the Serum Institute is working upon, has reached to its advanced stage now. The next important in the race probably we can see that the Bharat Biotech vaccine, the Covishield is also in this race, and probably they have seen that the trial 2 of this vaccine, the clinical trial 2 of this vaccine have almost completed here. That's what the company has claimed here. So obviously these trials are in initial stage right now, and to talk about it is quite early, and that's the reason when we see that the Prime Minister will be coming here, he'll get more idea about it, that when we are supposed to get this vaccine, what are details need to be involved here. Then only probably we'll have a word with the scientists also and the state also to tell them, or probably the signal will be clear that now we have to get ready here. But currently, what I've got to know is that there's no such dates so far. No, we have gotten this vaccine here. But what we've got to know is that we have to be ready whenever the vaccine comes. And these companies also saying, most of these companies have claimed that by next year, maybe the second quarter or the third quarter, probably we may get the vaccines. That's what these companies are claiming right now.
Okay. Okay, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you joining us. Shishir, you take good care of yourself, in Gujarat there, and we'll come back to you for more updates across the day as the Prime Minister begins his visit there from Gujarat. Well, moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on phone on Friday with Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Boris Johnson. The two leaders exchanged thoughts about the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and reviewed the promising cooperation between India and UK in the area of vaccine development and manufacturing. They reiterated a shared desire to impart a quantum jump to India-UK partnership in the post-COVID, post-Brexit era, and agreed that there was tremendous potential for enhancing collaboration in trade and investment, scientific research, mobility of professionals and students, and defense and security. Both leaders laid particular emphasis on India and UK joining hands in the fight against climate change and appreciated their collaboration under platforms like the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. The leaders agreed that officials from both sides would continue their work to quickly finalize an ambitious long-term roadmap for the India-UK partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappally K. Palaniswamy and discussed the situation in the wake of the cyclone and heavy rainfall in parts of the state. In a tweet, he said central teams are being sent to Tamil Nadu to assist in rescue and relief work, condolences on the loss of lives, and prayed for a quick recovery of the injured. An ex gratia of 2 lakh each would be given to the next of kin of the persons deceased and 50,000 each to the injured from the PMNRF. That's the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Moving on, meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, post-cyclone Nivar, weather experts say it appears to have had a landfall of lesser intensity as compared to earlier predictions. Reports say 3 people died in incidents relating to floods like tree fall and electrocution in the state. About 1,600 hectares of paddy have suffered losses, besides damages of plantations, groundnuts and tapioca crops. Nearly 1,100 trees were uprooted and most of them have been cleared. The 77 electric poles that fell due to the fury of the cyclone have been restored by the state DISCOM. However, a few places in Chennai are reeling under flood waters and efforts to evacuate the stagnant water is currently on. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the first phase of the first ever District Development Council elections and the Panchayat by-elections are underway. The elections will be conducted in 8 phases. Elaborate arrangements have been put in place to ensure smooth and peaceful conduct of polls. 260 candidates are trying their luck for a total of 43 seats in the first phase. In all, 14 DDCs will be elected from each of the 20 districts. Simultaneously, voting is also underway for the by-election of the Panchayat and the municipal urban body in the Union Territory. The voting for the DDC and Panchayat by-election is being done through ballot, and the polling of the civic body is being conducted through electronic voting machines. State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma has urged the people to follow the COVID guidelines and use face masks and maintain social distancing during the polls. He has also appealed to the people to come forward to participate in the biggest festival of democracy and exercise their rights to vote. Counting will take place on December 22nd after voting in all the 8 phases are complete. For the first time in these elections, refugees from Pakistan, Valmiki community and Gurkhas have also got the right to vote. Meanwhile, J&K DGP Dilbagh Singh on Friday discussed the overall security situation and the security arrangements in view of the voting for various bodies in the Union Territory in a high-level meeting at the police control in Kashmir in Jammu. The meeting was attended by top officers of J&K Police, IGs of BSF, CRPF and senior army officers. The DGP said the focus should be to ensure the security arrangements and implementation of devised comprehensive security plan for the elections. The DGP said that Pakistan and sponsored agents are continuously attempting to disturb peace in the region and stressed on the need to heightened vigilance and ensuring safety of protected persons and the security of important establishments and installations. The DGP emphasized collective measures to tackle any situation and any subversive act by the terrorists and their masters across the border. The DGP also emphasized the importance of maintaining a close watch on the ground situation and the elements inimical to peace. Well, our correspondent Ramesh Raina now joins us with more on this particular story. First up, Ramesh, good morning. Looking at the the election process there for the DDC elections, how do you see the process there, and how has been the turnout? Very slowly in the morning, too early to ask, but how do you see the turnout there when it comes to voting for the by-elections as well as for the election for the DDC elections?
Good morning, Anil. As you know, the JNK, there's some cold here because the cold season has set in. The polling has started for the first phase at 7 in the morning.
Okay.
But the turnout is very less. But as the day rises, people will come out in large numbers to cast their votes. Seeing the enthusiasm among the voters, which we saw during the electioneering, we will expect a huge turnout of people to come out to exercise their franchise, because these elections they are very this is a very important development in the Union Territory of J&K state, because in the 73 years for the first time in the 73 years that these district development council elections are being held in the Union Territory.
Okay. Also, Ramesh, give us a sense of, this particular election is going to be held in 8 phases till December 19th, and the counting is going to take place on December 22nd. Having said that, how do you feel when it comes to the security arrangements that are in place? Winter set in, we heard about the DG speak to various other security agencies. How is the security there overall when it comes to this particular conduct of the elections? Because this is the first time that elections are held post the formation of the Union Territory.
Anil, we have got J&K police here. They have got a sufficient number of police personnel deployed on these polling stations. And in addition to this, central government has sent almost 250 additional companies of paramilitary forces here. This is just because Pakistan is very frustrated over the turn of developments taking place in the last 1 year. Day in and day out, you will be hearing that it goes on violating ceasefire on the borders, which is taken good care by our army personnel deployed there. But so far as internal security is concerned, we have got sufficient number of paramilitary forces, and each polling station they have been adequate security have been deployed there. And yesterday, DG had a detailed meeting with all the security agencies.
Okay.
It was attended by high officials of all these paramilitary forces also there, and army officers also. And they devised a strategy that we have to ensure that the first ever district development council polls they are held in a peaceful atmosphere. And they devised a strategy that nothing should no chance should be given to any anti-social element to create any disturbances in these elections.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us with those updates there on the by-election as well as the DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Well, moving on, India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a 2-day visit to Seychelles, where the first high-level interaction between India and the Indian Ocean nation since elections in October brought to the office of President and Indian origin Wavel Ramkalawan. In a tweet, Jaishankar said, "Thanks Seychelles President Wavel Ramkalawan for receiving me, conveyed the greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and handed over a personal message, discussed our close security, cooperation, strong development partnership and long-standing people-to-people contacts." He also met his counterpart. After the meeting, Jaishankar said appreciate the warm welcome by Seychelles accorded by Foreign Minister Radegonde. Look forward to working with him closely to take our partnership forward. Assured him that Seychelles has a particular priority both under the Neighbourhood First policy and the Sagar outlook. Look forward to further strengthening our ties under his leadership. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is on a two-day visit to Colombo to participate in the 4th NSA level meeting of Trilateral Maritime Security Cooperation in Sri Lanka. Earlier meetings were held in 2011 in Maldives, in 2013 in Sri Lanka and 2014 in India. NSA Ajit Doval called on Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa on Friday and recalled the contribution of the successful virtual bilateral summit between the two leaders to progress in bilateral cooperation. The NSA-level trilateral meeting has served as an effective platform for cooperation among Indian Ocean countries. The meeting will provide an opportunity for discussion on issues pertaining to cooperation in maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. On the sidelines of the trilateral meeting, NSA is also expected to have other high-level bilateral engagements. In Iran, a scientist who was suspected of masterminding a secret nuclear bomb program was killed in an ambush near Tehran on Friday. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh died of injuries in hospital after armed assassins fired on his vehicle. Fakhrizadeh has long been described by Western countries as the leader of a covert atomic bomb program halted in 2003, which Israel and the United States accused Tehran of trying to restore in secret, while Iran has long denied seeking to weaponize nuclear energy. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign Minister Javed Zarif has said that Israel was likely to have been involved in the killing of prominent Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, although there was no evidence. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office along with the Pentagon refused to give any comment on reports of the attack. On to sports, Johnny Bairstow made his highest T20 international score as England beat South Africa by 5 wickets in the series opener in Cape Town. Coming at the crease at 27 for 2, chasing 180 to win, Johnny hit 9 fours and 4 sixes in a scintillating fashion and remained unbeaten of 86 of 48 deliveries. He was ably supported in an 85-run partnership with all-rounder Ben Stokes, who made a 27-ball 37. The second game of the 3-match series will take place at Boland Park in Paarl on Sunday. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. You take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.